What up, everybody? How's it going? So we're back at it again. Did a few things. I moved the truck forward. I welded in, and then Bondo skimmed my cousin's door for where I ended up having that patch. But unfortunately, that hardener was kind of not good. So I'm gonna have to sand it down the best I can and get most of it off there, and then redo it again with better hardener. So I have a new tube of hardener. So we'll see how that works out. I got the wire loom done for the speakers on this side. So yeah, the 18 gauge, 4 of them through that 1/4 inch TexFlex worked good. Got that down. So that's actually buttoned up underneath here. And then we'll go right along here and got it done again back here. I'll probably bring it around the back of that box right here through the corner, and then it'll come up through the back because I'll have an amp over, or 2 amps over here, and then there'll be 2 amps over there as well. So I'll just have to make the racks for them. It's getting closer. So that side is fully deadened now. I can remove that piece of wood, and I'll do that here shortly. But that is 100% like foam filled and sound deadened. The back will get sound deadened on there, and then I'm gonna start building panels for all this stuff. I have to cut out this right here for the speaker, so I'll have to take the Sawzall and cut into that. I did on the other side. Might not look like it on the video, but I did it on the other side. I cut into that, and I cut that out. So I might have to cut more out, but it is, I mean, it's cut out. So I don't know how deep I'm gonna have to cut this out in order to fit the speaker in there. So I'm just waiting to get the speaker first. And then I can do like a depth test and then just kind of cut out what I need to and then put it in there. Yeah, it'll be pretty cool when I'm done. And then if you're wondering how I'm wiring it, since there is obviously no way to get speaker wire in or out of there now since I sound deadened it, I'm just going to wire it and leave the speaker wire hang out because it's all going to be embedded behind paneling, so you won't see it. When it's done, it'll just be wood paneling that'll be speaker box carpeted, and you won't see any of that stuff. Where the speaker itself goes will be cut out, and then there'll be like a mesh grill insert set in place for it, so you won't see anything. Like, there's no way. What you see now is what you see, and this is basically what somebody would see if they walked into their car at a shop being worked on. They'd see this, but when they get it back, everything's done real nice with panels, and the carpet's back in, and the doors are paneled and done. No one sees their car when it's tore apart, and not unless you know the installer or something like that. So this kind of gives you a glimpse into what people do. The only way that you would know that that doesn't have an actual wire buried through there behind all that actual spray foam and stuff is if you took that panel off. You'd have to be kind of stupid to put a wire behind the spray foam, because if that wire shorts out, then now you got to dig out all that spray foam. So yeah, I kind of did that before. Anyways, I'll take that speaker wire, hook everything up, and then I'll just run it down the side, sound deadened around it. You won't know anything. Never know that that's how it was done. Speaker will play the same. Everything will sound good. It'll be fine. I got quite a bit of stuff going on. So I did the TexFlex stuff for that. I got the other wires set up. Those are over here, scrambled in a mess right now, but I gotta lay them out because I gotta get the other set done. And then that's wrapped up back here. This is excess stuff, so I might have to, cut it back and then figure that out, peel some wire back, but it's a little bit extra, if you know what I mean, because I just don't know where stuff's gonna have to hook up and to what amp stuff's gonna hook up to. So at this moment, it's just kind of there. Oh, look, that expansion foam started to expand on that again. That's nice. We'll just kind of hang that back here. because that's I just used it to pry it out, and there was some sticky stuff in the corner. Well, it decided that it wanted to start expanding again. So, oh well. Yeah, there's some more stuff dripping right now. This side here had issues where it didn't want to fully harden up, but it's pretty solid now. The other side is definitely solid. That side still needs to expand more, but this side here is definitely solid. Like, it don't move. So that's the goal. That's what I was going for. I don't need it flexing. I need the base to do base things and the car to not be rattling. So when you hear bass, you hear bass, not the vehicle's sheet metal being ripped apart. I know some people think that's cool and all, but not really. It just adds distortion, and it takes away from the actual loudness of your stereo. People are like, oh yeah, shit's loud. No, it's not. It's just the sheet metal being ripped apart. I gotta still wire these up for these lights up here, and then I gotta get the sound deadening mat thing. So we'll order in the actual butyl rubber sound deadening 80 mils. Even if I got 50 because it's cheaper, I could get it multiple packs and just layer it, but I'd rather get 80 and layer 80. Yeah, or maybe just pay for second skin to do the roof. But I also have to start figuring out cutting that hole, and then I have to start sound deadening that backside as well, so I can start getting the backboards and side panel boards cut. I gotta get a lot more wiring done. But on a plus note, I did get my rework station, and I got my book of different ohms resistors. So now I can just figure out which ones I need, slap them in there, and you're good to go. This thing goes all the way up to like 10 million ohms. Look at that. That's nuts. That's insane. Like, I don't know who would need a 10 million ohm micro little little micro resistor. I don't know. Why would you need that? Look, there's a zero. Wouldn't you just, a zero just be nothing in there? Or a zero, just solder the connection between the two of them? That's a zero. There's a one. Like, it's crazy ridiculous, this book. Now, are they correct? I have no clue. Am I going to run them? Absolutely. So then we just find which ones we need and call it good. 200 ohm. Now, a 1.5K, so that's 1,500. I believe that's what I need for right here. And then I think the other one is 200 and 300. So we'll get to working on that too. Don't worry, I'll bring you guys along for the ride on that one too. Don't know if I'll be doing that in this video or not, but you never know. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to this stuff real quick. So here we are now. I got this one wired in like I told you guys. Now I got that other one buried too. But check this out. I ended up welding the grounds to the roof for the lights that are on top, and I got the wiring loom ran for that, for the positive. I know that people are like, why'd you tack weld basically the grounds to the roof? Well, I didn't want to put holes in there. I didn't want to try to put holes in this or wherever. So I just did that, and I think it turned out pretty good. Although I did burn through the roof in that spot right there. And I think there's another one like somewhere over there. Yeah, like a little tiny one. But little touch-up paint will fix that. Yes, they do work. I may post in a picture towards the end or something like that of just like how the lights are on. But yeah, so this wire is completely buried in here. I have excess wire coming out from here to be able to wire all this stuff in and not have to worry about too much stuff. So I have plenty of excess here. I just kind of tuck it out of the way in case I need to close the door for some reason. This is buttoned up down there, and so I don't know if the board will be in the way for this one because it kind of sticks out a little bit further than this one does. But even if I have to take this one off or push that in, that's fine. It'll be okay. And then it goes through the loom. That's the only wire going through this loom, which is a good part because in my other car there was so much. It does go up behind the e-brake mechanism and then down behind it, and then it actually is zip tied to that cable. And then this zip tie for that wiring harness is connected to here. It goes through this channel and all the way back. And then I kind of got it bunched up right here for right now, but it will go back that way. I don't know what amps they're going to go to, so I do have a lot of extra, but that can be adjusted or just wound up and coiled up, and then whatever wires I need to use, where they need to go to what amps, we'll figure that out when that time comes. As for right now, we did get some of that stuff done. I did cut out for the seat belt over there, and I also cut out for the speaker right there. That one there I took out a little bit more. It just ended up coming out in like a pretty big chunk, so I will also probably take more out of this one anyways, but I have to wait until I order the speakers and they come in. So we'll see what I end up doing. As of right now, I'm kind of on a budget crunch. I owe somebody some money for an amplifier that I had purchased from him a while ago. So I have to finish paying that back. And then I will be able to order all the rest of the stuff that I need, as far as like speakers and sound deadening and stuff like that. I might be able to order the sound deadening, but then definitely have to wait on the speakers because that's a pretty good chunk of money. Then after that, it's ordering the subwoofers and the other amplifiers. And I don't know if I'm going to go with these as a 4-channel. I might just find some cheaper ones, like some really cheap ones. And it's kind of a funny thing because everybody's like giving me crap that like this whole build's Temu. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just order the 4 channels off of there and just go with some cheap brand off Temu and just wing it and see what it turns out like. And then this whole build will just be the Temu build, basically. And because the lights are from there, pretty much everything I got off there is, I got the sound deadening from there, except for I think this Silas got off of Evil Bay, and then light switches came from Temu, door handles came from Temu, the floor mats came from Temu, that came from Temu, lights came from Temu. I'm getting a sign for in the back that's actually going to be ordered from there as well. That's going to be a neon light up sign, so once all this stuff gets capped with beauty paneling and stuff, there'll be a neon light up sign in the back. All the stickers came from Temu, except for a couple of them that came from the sticker guy that's on our team. And so, yeah, like there's most of this stuff is all Temu. The wiring did not, however, come from there. These racing caps that I'm using for tweeters actually came from there as well, too. The rock lights, those came from there. So there is quite a bit of stuff in here that's a Temu product. Even this is, which is that TexFlex. So yeah, my cousin had some TexFlex laying around. I think this is smaller than the stuff he had. The stuff he had was a little bit bigger than this. And I think this stuff is just slightly smaller. I do have the blue for the for the passenger side. I need to order some of this in red so I can finish off the driver's side, because then everything will be color coordinated, what side goes to what. Red is for driver's side, blue is for the passenger side. And that way then I know when I'm in the back and I'm like, hey, what's this wire go to? Well, if it's on the blue side, then it's for the passenger side, and then they'll be all color coordinated once I get to that point. And I'll just color coordinate according to the way that they're hooked up. Tweeters, blah, 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 blah. So, you know the whole thing. I'm sure you guys know how to wire that stuff up. It's just a matter of getting to that point of wiring everything up. So I think my next big project here in the next day or two, or maybe even this upcoming weekend, is going to be tackling that thing. Because I did get my hot air solder station or rework station. Oop, hit my little stool. And yeah, so I got the hot air rework station. It does work. It does put out a lot of hot air. And then this works pretty good too. I just actually use this to solder on, get that back up in there, to solder on these, these are Orion caps, or whatever, resistors. And this is not an Orion tweeter, but I had them laying around and they are the same microfarad as these ones. So I will just run those on those tweeters. Since those ones didn't have them, these ones came with them. And I figured, you know what, to make it balanced, we'll just throw those on there because I already had those Orion ones sitting around. So I threw those on there. I did get my flux in. So this is my solder flux paste with my little injection needle to be able to pinpoint exactly where I want this. So yeah, and this stuff, I mean, usually flux isn't that cheap, but this stuff was kind of cheap. But it's pretty thick and it works pretty good. It has a very low melt off. So then I also got solder wick, so I can clean up anything if I need to. And just hurry up and use the soldering iron and just heat that down and clean up anything with the flux and pick up any excess stuff to clean it up. But I shouldn't have to because I'm just going to be flipping, removing a few of those. So it'll be fine. I'll just flip that one to that one and switch these two out right here. And I don't remember, I have to do something with that one. I just don't remember what I have to do with it. So again, I will be watching those videos over and over again and taking notes. I'll write down everything. Once I get that working and that's actually functioning correctly, then I will go back through and I will tell you guys everything that I did, and I will actually screenshot my notes of everything that needed to be done or flipped in order to correct this amp properly. And then that way you guys are on the same page, and if somebody needs to use this video as a reference, once I get done doing it and I know that it's going to work for sure, then they can use it. Otherwise, they can do the whole thing of going back and watching his videos as well, and they can take their own notes and they can do it however they want to. I'm just saying, if you want to use mine, go ahead. If you don't, that's fine too. And always remember, you can screw it up, but I'm sure it can always be fixed, right? So just like welding, you weld something and you screw it up, hey, you can always fix it. You can go back in and fix it. It's not a problem. Can't do that with wood though. But anyways, I suppose I'm going to just kind of stop rambling right now, and I don't know where this video is going to go. Hey, what up everybody? So, yeah, been a little bit, but yeah, this is all going to be together as one from where I picked up before. So I'm going to end up having to put some sealant stuff over the top of the grounds, because I did ground these lights. They do work. Again, like I said, I'll put a picture up at the end to show that they actually work, because I don't have any way to kind of ground that off and be able to do all that, I guess. I mean, I guess I could just put that wire up in there into that whatever it is, 20 volt or 24 volt battery that I have. I think it's 20 volt, but
or 24 volts is what it says on the side, but when I tested it, it said it was 20 volts. So super weird. I don't know, some Chinese battery. Came with one of the tools that I purchased, but anyways, I'm gonna trim off those screws too, and then that way they're not, you know, kind of poking down too far. I'll just trim them off a little bit so that it doesn't have the sharp edge to it. So if I ever did get in an accident or something and my head hits that, it's not like the screw is going to drive itself into my head. Hopefully not. But that'll be covered up by sound deadening anyways as well. And I also have a thing here too. So I'm going to bring you guys over here too. Whoa, 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 whoa. Got caught up on there. All right. So I'm gonna bring you guys over here. I'm gonna cut that off there. Let's see here if I can see where you guys are at. Okay, so take you off the stand. This right here is the cable that goes off the alternator, right? My buddy just gave me this really cool thing. So this is dual 0, I believe. So I'm gonna hook this up on there. I have to cut the wire first, and then I'm gonna see about getting this shroud off there as well, so I can put that on there. And I think that that will work out quite well. Even if I have to put like a rubber washer or something back here, like if I get this whole plastic piece off, so it doesn't hit the casing, because obviously you don't want it to be grounding back into the casing. That'd be freaking retarded. But yeah, I can do that and figure that out. I also messed with this. Like, I know I said I was gonna do it on camera, but then I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna do it on camera, because if I did it on camera, then I would feel embarrassed if it didn't work, which, surprise, surprise, it didn't work. So I'm gonna have to, I took some pictures of it, and I'm going to reach out to Bear Vids and see if he can reply back or will reply back, because for some reason, it flashes in here. So you have your protect, your clip, and your power blue light on, and these stay on and the blue light sits and flashes. So I'm not sure if it's because it's only seeing part of the power when I hook it up, because I'm only hooking it up to one of these connections and it's not being hooked up to all 4 of them. I'm only hooking it up to like these 2 and then turning the remote on. So maybe that's where it's not seeing the proper power coming in or something like that. I'm not sure. If anybody knows, you guys can sure let me know. Maybe I have to do it off of these 2 with the remote instead of these 2 with the remote being over here. And maybe that's why it's not sensing right, or maybe I got to do like power on one side and ground on the other side with remote. You know, I'm not sure exactly how that's to power the board with a double input like that, because usually I'll just hook all 4 of them up, but on my test bench I don't have that as an option. So I don't know if that's something that's the problem of how I'm powering it in, because it's only powering from this side instead of this side or something like that, and it's only powering half the board, so it's like seeing it as a problem. Anyways, let's see if I can zoom you guys in here, okay, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I will grab one of my tweezers here. Come on now, there you go. And I'll point this out to you guys. I need this to stay on though. And then, so basically what I did is I flipped this one over. I changed it off. So this is R 53, and I flipped it over. So this takes away that ground to gate problem that the MCU chip was having. So it stopped the fans from spinning when you apply power. So now if you hook the remote up, it turns on and it's powered up, these will spin. But if you unplug the remote and there's just power there, they don't turn on. So that's obviously working just fine, okay? I also changed off R15, and that was a 3.3. So yeah, so it'd be 3,300. So it'd be 3.3K. But I changed that off to a 47K because that's what he originally had changed it off to. And so now the chip is supposed to be seeing close to like 4 volts. I also changed off this one to 150K for R71, and this one here are the other R71. So this is R71 1, this is 2, and this one here sees first power, this sees secondary power and goes to the chip, allows it to the chip. So this one here, he did it as a 150K, and so that's 150,000 ohms resistor. And then this one here is a 51 ohm. He did 50 ohm, but this is a 51 ohm because I don't have a 50 ohm. And the way he did his was he actually stacked two 104s in parallel, which allowed him to get it, instead of it being doubling up like a series setup, it just became 50, basically a 50 ohm resistor. So I had a 50 ohm resistor, or 50, yeah, it's not 50 ohm, but 50,000 ohm resistor. And I have a sample. I have like tons and tons and tons of these, you know, resistors in here. So his became a 50,000 ohm. So you go over here, that's the 47K that I put into where the 3.3 would have been, so 3.3. So I can change those back again if need be. And then you keep going, and this is, there's the 51 ohm one that I put in there in replace on that other one, and then there's the 150,000 ohm. That's the one that I put in to where the spot where I was supposed to put it into. Everything is seeing, I mean, the board is seeing out of the MCU chip, it's seeing 5 volt to here. So it is processing and turning the board on like it's supposed to. I just don't know where in here between either this one here or this one here, or maybe potentially these two, that it's not reading what it wants to in order to actually kick the amp on properly like it's supposed to. Either that, or there's something else in the amp that's not wired right, because I've actually seen and heard of people buying the amp and then they get them and it just sits there and flashes this blue light, and all these lights stay on. So you have your clip and your protect light that stay on permanently, and the blue light just flashes. And I've had people see that and say that their amp showed up like that, flashing, meaning it's just dead on arrival, or that's how they say it, it's dead on arrival. They don't know how to fix it, but I'm just kind of guessing here with my shit too, so I don't really know how to fix it either. That's basically why I'm reaching out to him, because I didn't know if the amp ever powered up correctly or not. I never tried to. When I first hooked up 12 volt over here and I seen that these turned on without having the remote wire hooked up, I automatically knew that this amp had that same problem like Bear Vids was talking about. So I kind of went through and just modified it the way that he did. I wrote down notes and everything. So the little notes thing, kind of off what he did. And this was questionable because he didn't explain it in the secondary video if he had originally changed that back to the original resistor or if he had left it as the 4.7K. As long as between this and between the R15 and the R53, as long as it equaled out to 3.9 or 4 volts to the MCU chip for the what the heck's it called, the VCM to turn on, if that's higher than 4 volts, it's not going to read right. But 4 volts, it would read perfectly fine, and it would be in rail voltage 1. And then at rail voltage, after rail voltage 1, that's why he changed these resistors to basically put it into the higher rail voltage and lock it into the higher rail voltage. But he originally put it in at I believe it was 180
for the rail voltage. So, and that's a tensiometer right there, it looks like. Like, I'm not exactly sure why they would have put that in there, but that looks just like a tensiometer. Huh. That is straight up, I think that's a tensiometer. Does it spin? No, it's not spinning. And I don't have a small enough Phillips right now to go do that, or at least not here on my bench. I'd have to go get it out of my drawer, or I would have to go and get it off the other tool area, but I don't know why they would put that on there. Oh, you know what? I bet that's one of the screws. They're also using that as a ground. So that's a ground isolated screw to hold the board down. That's funky. That's a screw, but they actually have it in line in a circuit system to be able to use it that same ground as a screw. What the heck? All kinds of different stuff. Anyways, in a second, I'm gonna put you guys on pause real quick here. All right, guys, had a phone call come in, had to take that. So, anyways, I think that there's something in here that might be wrong, but also it could have been this chipset here where I modded that out. I've tried it multiple different ways, so I'm not exactly sure. And if I ask him and I reach out to him and he tells me, yeah, hey, this is the deal or whatever, and I can fix it, then that's great. If I can't fix it and he offers to be like, hey, I can fix it for you, but you're gonna have to send it to me, I'm probably gonna take my money and put it into shipping this thing across the ocean to him and just have him go through it, test it out, and fix it. I'm not really worried about him fixing the on-off switching between the MOSFETs. I know that's gonna have a high spike, but I mean, if he wants to go through it and change every one of those, as far as like the micro ohms resistors to increase them or decrease them, then that is on him. And I would, I mean, obviously if he's fixing it, then that would be a thing. But if he doesn't want to mess with that, and it's not important to me, and then just get it working and make sure it stays in rail voltage, so it's in it's regulated 1, but the higher rail voltage. So I think that'll be the best option there. But yeah, this is just kind of getting to me. I don't really know what to do with it. Anyways, I did cut the wire off already, so let's see what we can do here. Take that off, and let's see if we can get a lug on here or something and pop that in. I'm gonna utilize this original alternator as far as the OEM alternator goes, so we'll just deal with that when as the time comes too. So we'll just run that single alt there, because this is going to be just the stock alt, and then yeah, I'll slide this into that other one. All this other stuff that's on this alt will stay on here. I may or may not beef up those grounds, but I'm not really worried about it if I don't. Supposedly the itty bitty is supposed to be able to run off of stock system, or stock alternator. So let's see if I can. I'm going to tap this screen here and get you guys up there. I gotta move this down, try to find you guys a good angle on the dangle here. It's like you find something, you set it up, and then it never wants to stay where you want to put it. So let's get that up there.
And this is not very good because that's not a good platform. There, that'll work for you guys, I think. Something like that.
Now, I don't know what size that is, so I'm going to say it's like just under half. So I got to get a socket. And we'll see. Where it ends up. Gap didn't win, right? So I got a 3/8 and I got a 7/16, so we'll see which one it is. I'm not sure. It's not like I sit and take these off all the time. And that is that catching? That is not catching. So it's probably going to be smaller, so it's probably going to be this one here. It's going to be a 3/8, unless it's metric, which you never know. It could be metric. I'm going to guess it's metric. So it's metric between 7/16 or at that. Oh, I don't need the adapter, I guess. Quarter-inch drives. So I have the 11. I don't think it's going to be an 11. More than likely, it's going to be a 10 millimeter since everything in the world is 10 millimeter. And that is not it. That is the 11. Where's the 10 here? That's a 9. I got the 9 just in case. More than likely, it's probably going to be a 10, and it is. Everything in the world's 10 millimeter. It might as well just be like 10 millimeter everything. All right, let's see if I can. I can't drive that way. It's all. I need to just get a nut driver, 10 millimeter nut driver at this point. I have one, I'm sure. And I do. 10 millimeter nut driver. Hey, look at that. Coming right off. Break it free with the socket, take the nut driver and spin it off. If I have to. Oh, there, drop that. That's okay. Pretty common, 10 millimeter. Oh, no, it goes on there. Alright, that's off. Throw that away. Trash. Now, is that going to come off there? Well, it moves, so maybe it will. Maybe I just got to get a pliers and rip it off there. We'll see. Pliers right here. All right. All right. You gonna come off there? Well, it spins freely now. So I can angle that, but it's not coming off, so am I going to get that off there? Flathead maybe? Flathead and a hammer? Flathead and a hammer it is. Get out of the way. Huh. How are you not breaking off? How are you not breaking off? It doesn't smell good, I'll tell you that. It's like it wants to go. Must be another nut on there. There it is. All right. So, kind of jarred that up and marred that up a little bit internally. I'm pretty sure. Because that looks like that got a little bit dinged up from me fucking around there. But post looks good still. I'm sure it still has good output. Ain't no problem there. I'm not 100% sure on that, but hey, don't quote me. Just an idiot. Post is straight. I just straightened it out, so just the casing's messed up. So we'll just roll with that. Call it good. Now, did lose the other chunk, but I still have to put a piece of rubber on there anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I lost that other nut that's on the ground underneath there. So I gotta find a rubber washer. Now, where do I find a rubber washer? I can take that one and put that on. me see how far that one slides on there. And if that'll work. Or not work. Does that may work? Nope. I mean, that helps insulate it a little bit. So we're probably roll with that in the internals part to help seal that up. That's kind of cool. But now that that's in there, hook up to that. So that go on there. That goes on there. That's pretty fat because that's hanging out pretty far. But I do like the way that that's set up. So I might just trim this one down. This is just a cabinet bump stop that I have that I use for putting my amps and stuff in. But it would work pretty good as a rubber insulator. I just gotta cut it.
This.
Let's see.
Gloves on me. Hold it and then just use the multi-driver.
So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this and take this, and I'm just gonna stick it in there with my fingers holding it, and I'm gonna see if I can cut it in half.
That gets hot. It is cutting it though. That gets hot. Huh. There's no else I can do that. Yep. You know, put it in a vise and cut the damn thing down the center. Regular saw. You can't clamp it that way. Stay. Yeah, it's not going to work. Well, cut that. All right, that works. So, I'm pretty sure that that'll work. Ended up trying to use a hacksaw, didn't really work. Wasn't really able to do it to put it into like the little flat place that I had to cut it down. I did kind of go around it with the multi-cutter, the multi-tool. And what I did was I ended up just taking, since it already had that ridge cut in with the multi-tool kind of going around it, I took a pair of side cutters, and I just cut it off, and now that'll slide on there, and that'll become my little rubber bushing, and it'll help protect the casing and the metal from touching. Hopefully that works out good and there's no issue with it, because I don't want to be having output charging and then it ends up sparking or something like that. Oh yeah, that'll be perfect. Let's get that set up about like that, and we'll snug her on down. This will just bloop right in there, and then we should be good. Even though that's kind of a small connector to be put into that big ass thing, we'll call it good there. Now what do I do with the nut? Stupid. I lost the nut. Found it. Look at me. Look what I can do. All right. Oh, I got these little zip ties too to cut off. I'm gonna have to crimp those other connectors down a little bit more than what that other guy did. All right, so this hopefully this is deep enough still. Or are they gonna go get a 10mm deep socket? Nope, that's a different size. That's probably a. Don't think it's an 11, but it could be. So we'll try the 11. Nope, it's probably going to be like a 12. Maybe a 13. So I'll probably grab a 12 and a 13. Just to make sure that I get correct. I'll grab the 12 and the 13. But hey, you never know, right? So just get what you get and don't complain. So we'll start off with a 12 and just see if that's a 12. And it is a 12. Wow. Would you look at that? Wow. Just look at that. Smash that rubber down. Yeah, there shouldn't be any metal touching that other metal. Pretty close, but it's not touching. You'll know. Oh, car will become a fucking firestorm pretty quick. I mean, it's on there, but no, it's not touching nothing. Not touching no metal. Like I said, you'll know. It's better safe than sorry, I guess. Reach over there? Absolutely not. Use the old flashlight then. Oh yeah, she's far enough off. Yeah, that's insulated really good, so that'll do. That'll do. And we just got to bear this back, shove it in there. And this one here will be the one that comes off and goes directly back to the back battery system. And
hopefully that works out. Because I don't want to. I mean, I was just going to ring stack them on there, on here. But buddy gave me this, so thank you, Cody, for that. Now we just got to make it work. That's the only problem. We got to make that work with it in order to have it work properly. And so I don't have to sit there and make plugs and walk over to the up and kind of just back off there. Kind of gives it a clean look. Hopefully that works out for the better. And that fan's just going like crazy up there for the heater system. It is cold out now, so I think we got some flurries last night. Alright, where is my up on the car. It's up on the truck. Alright. Anyway, let's see what kind of trouble we can get into here. All right, off you come. And that's all stiff wire, just so you guys know. That is not something that you can just go and start grabbing and messing with, because this stuff is not soft wire, it's pretty stiff wire. So we're going to give her a twist, which is going to probably break off most of that exterior stuff that goes around the shell. And then we'll get it twisted up in there. Alright, now I could put a grommet on this, and I might put one on here just to make it look better, but that's basically what it would do. Now, see if I can put a ferrule on there. I'm sure I have ferrules somewhere. Fit that. Question is, how am I going to crimp that on there? Just smack it on with the pliers and call it good, or just set it on there. I don't want to drop those because that would be 1,000,001 pickup, and I don't want to do that. That one's on the smaller side. I think these ones are pretty close. Might work. Yeah, that'll work. See? Ta-da! Magic! And then we'll slide that in there. And then crimp it down with the Allen key. Which I don't know what size fits that. So, again, we have to go find more stuff. Everybody, it'd be nice if, you know, people were organized, but everybody can't be organized. That stuff's staged, right? There's a staged track where they show up, and your every tool is right there for them. You know exactly where everything's at. Pretty sure it's staged. All their YouTube stuff, and they got everything, like all the cart with every tool on it, and they can just slide it over there and be like, yeah, this is the tool we're going to use right now. Oh yeah, we got that, we got this. Oh, I'm just off. Let's go down one. Let's see where we end up. Down one. Yep, that was it. That was the move. So I'm gonna come down. I'm probably gonna straighten it out a little bit as I go. So go like that. I think it crimped in there. It's starting to. How's everybody's week been? Mine was okay. Now it's the start of a new one going to come up here right now. So let's hope this one goes good for everybody too. Going to be busy though, I think. I think it's just going to be a pretty busy week this week. It's okay though. We got to have that sometimes. You can't have fun all the time. Every now and then it's nice to be busy. Keeps you young and keeps you healthy. Keeps you fit, depending on what you're doing, I guess. If you're busy only mentally, then maybe you should get busy physically. Find yourself a project, do something, get out there and have fun. Me, this is my passion and hobby, and I enjoy doing car stereo stuff and electrical. Even though sometimes I get frustrated with it and I have to be like, always telling myself, I love car audio. But yeah, no, it does get frustrating sometimes. It's an expensive hobby, but most hobbies nowadays are pretty an expense to most people. They're just, and some people see them, I guess, as a waste of time, but then I see it as like, well, you enjoy playing video games and watching movies. Well, me, personally, I kind of see those as a waste of time. Because movies nowadays are predictable and really not interesting. And a lot of them, they're just copying stuff that has already came out because they don't know anything. They can't come up with their own. That did slide. You know, I thought that was tight. It still slid. That rubber. Should be fine though. That should be fine though. It looks like that touched some stuff before from, must have been Cody or somebody that was pulling that out of there before, or moving wires around and zaps and stuff. It happens, it happens. Happens to the best of us. So, that was the 12. And I'll get that back up here. I am gonna give her a couple more smokums maybe, just to see what if I can get it to go any more than that. Get on there. All right, so I did some more smoking on there, and I got a few more turns, but I like I said before, I didn't want to really squish that down too bad, but I think I'm just gonna have to keep going until it's pretty stiff. Oh yeah, she doesn't move now. That rubber grommet acts as an insulator, so as long as it's doing its thing, it should we should have good connection there and shouldn't have a problem. But like I said, you'll know in a real hurry This son of a bitch will start glowing red, and this will too, and it'll fry all that. And yeah. Burn the car down, have a nice fire. Somebody bring out the marshmallows. And bring out the marshmallows for that. That's gonna be fun. Super fun. Watch the car fry. It's gonna be great. It's just what everybody wants in their life. We're turning your car on, you go and watch it burn to the ground. It's everybody's favorite thing. All right. So we got that on there. Now, we're gonna spin you guys up here. I have to do some stuff over here with this because these wires here are just kind of loose and just janky sitting in there. It's like they removed the pin that actually went on here, and they took these wires and they just shoved some wires on there, and they're not very tight. So they just kind of jiggle and giggle and wiggle. And I'm sure this has something to do with the HVAC system. So that one's actually not bad now. It found its home like it was supposed to. Let's go just a squish. Just a tish there. See if we can get it on. Oh yeah, that's better. Yeah, the rest of these are pretty solid too. So yeah, that one's not. That one slid right off there. Okay. So just a tish. And we'll get that back on there. And I think some of them, the guy lined it up for the plastic and totally missed the metal part and ended up just sliding the plastic over it. So it's probably barely making connection. But I'm pretty sure that janky connection has to do with the HVAC system, and this used to be an HVAC pin that corroded up, and then he ended up putting these connectors on there. Either that or changed the whole plate and then put these connectors on there because it just seemed different. But I'm sure it has to do with that HVAC control system. Almost 100% it has to do with that HVAC control system, which is fine. There's so many just wires just hanging everywhere. That's just, everything's just crazy. Okay. Like I said, this car came from a farmer. Said it multiple times. I mean, there's nothing against farmers, but there is something against the redneckery that they pull. I love farmers, and I grew up in the country, and I grew up pulling redneck BS, but there's only so much and so far that I'm going to push redneck BS, because some of this stuff is like, you probably shouldn't do that, but here you are doing it anyways. So we will fix some of this stuff up a little bit better than what they had it as, and make it a little bit nicer or better in a way you can. I would test to tape all this stuff up, but looks like they might have had to get in here at one point in time before for something, so we'll just leave it as that. There's also something hooked right there, or it was just also part of the harness from before that they unwrapped and it just happened to be hanging there. Who knows? I don't really know. Oh, there's the train saying hi to you guys. That thing's loud. get trains pass through here all the time because our new shop's kind of out in the country, and it's kind of by some train tracks, and the train goes by here all the time, passing through to go to the city or whatever. And so, you know, it might just even bypass the city too, so they keep going. But we hear it constantly. There's probably, I don't know, probably get 40, 50 trains just from being out here for a couple hours. So there's a lot of stuff. Somebody just tried to call me. Don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Cool. So the event page just went up live for a base comp that we're going to have in August 15th of 2026. So if you guys are interested in the event, please go ahead and check it out on Facebook. It is going to be called Street Beats Showdown. It's the same event that I put on last year. So I put on the event last year, or last August, I think it was August 16th that I did the event last year. This year it's going to be on the 15th. It's still going to be around that same weekend. So it'll also be inside of the same area. So we will be at the Holiday Inn parking lot. I'm going to straighten you guys out here if I can figure out how to go that right direction there. So we are going to be in the Holiday Inn parking lot at in Fargo. Off 13th Avenue, and we did the event last year. So I'm going to end up doing the event this year again in 2026. Well, this coming year, because right now we're not in 2026, but you get what I mean. So I am going to end up doing it on August 15th, and it's going to be a double event. So we're going to have Base Wars is going to be there, and Midwest SPL. So if you guys are around the Fargo area or tri-state area or even further out and you would like to show up, I mean, you could come from San Francisco and show up if you really wanted to, or Texas or Florida, Georgia, New York, Pennsylvania, anywhere. You are watching this and you want to show up, please come to the event. It's going to be a pretty big event. So we have the whole west parking lot of the Holiday Inn reserved, and I don't know, it's probably like half a block for the parking lot. It's a pretty big parking lot. So we will have quite a few people there. We'll have to have 2 separate lanes, and we'll have one event on one side, one event on the other side, as far as like the Base Wars versus like Midwest. So if you want to, it's $25 to get in on the event, I believe, for Midwest. I think it's the same for Base Wars. Base Wars might be 30. I think it's 30 to get in, and then I have to check the fees and all that stuff. So non-members, if you are a member of Midwest SPL, it's $25 to enter. If you're a non-member and you're just showing up to do the event, it's $30 to enter to do one event, which would just be like, if you're just doing like bandit class to burp and get your numbers, then it'd be 30 bucks. Then I believe it's $20 every event after that. So bring some cash, because that event's going to be a spendy event, because you also have Base Wars, which is the exact same fees. It's $30 for your first entry, and then $20 for every entry after that. So sometimes it helps to be a member of these, especially if you're going to keep going to shows like all year long, and you know you're going to make it to a bunch of the shows. Then it's easier just to sign up and pay a flat fee, and then you don't have to worry about showing up and having to cough up money, because you can pay a flat fee and then you can enter into every event. Like you get your SPL run, then you get like your Twister run, or your depending on how you're going to do it, Crowd Loud, Lit, or like SQ class, whatever one you want to run in, whatever the deal is. However many classes they have, whatever you want to run into, you could just run them. So sometimes being a member is just better. Otherwise, every time you go to an event, you're spending a lot of money to run all those events. So yeah, so that just went live up on Facebook, so you can check it out. Street Beats Showdown Midwest SPL event. And you can go state if you're going to show up, or if you're interested in going, you can advertise it and spread it out to everybody. So it is a local event to me. I'm actually the one that reserved the spot, and I'm the one that put it on last year. I'll be the one that's putting it on this year. But when I'm at the show, if there's any other issues that occur, please take up your issues with the judge, or judges in this case. Don't come to me complaining about how you didn't get to make a run, or how you think it's unfair that somebody else got to go before you, and all this stuff. I don't need to hear it. Don't care. I'm just a regular guy there at that point in time, just enjoying the show like everybody else. And I'm not there to hear people's complaints. I'm there to run just like everybody else is too. So let's just keep it civil and have fun. But other than that, you're welcome to come out and join. Like, you know, even if you just have like a sub you bought from Walmart and you put it in a box and you want to see what you can get, by all means, come out and see what you can get. You know, we can put it on the meter. It's going to cost you, obviously, but we can put it on the meter. And you never know. You might be in a class and there might not be anybody in that division, or your stuff might actually be really loud and you might win that in that class or in that division. So you never know until you get there what's going to happen. So you could show up and you'd be the only person in that division, which has happened quite a few times, and then you end up winning by default. But once you make your run, that score goes up nationwide. So now your score, if that's the highest score, no matter what, like maybe it's not the highest score, but like I'm not exactly sure who had the highest score in bandit class, but I think I was second in bandit class as far as like last year goes and everything. I never went to finals, so it didn't matter. I could have went to finals, but I didn't. I just chose not to. I actually sold the subs off right before finals and all that stuff. Same subs that I ran this last year, doing competitions with it, I'm going to run in this thing, but I'm going to run more of them. Instead of running 2 of them, I'm going to run 8 of them. So we are there to be able to have fun and just explore stuff. If you just want to pick up something and slap it in, by all means, do that. So I hope to see you guys there. Anyways, I'm going to end this video here. We got some stuff done. I got some more electrical stuff to do. We'll pick that up on the next one. Thanks for watching.